So good morning, good day, good afternoon to all of the many participants joining us here for the third of the 4 CWP webinar series on urban water taking place here during March, April, May. It's a pleasure to have you with us. We are going to have a tight program today, but an interesting program, and I will start presenting you to the program during the next couple of minutes. My name is Henrik Dissing, and I'm responsible for the China Europe Water Platform business program and are daily located at the Danish Environmental Protection Agency. First of all, as an information to you, the slide doesn't change so quickly on my screen. First of all, information that the PPTs and summary report and recordings from the previous 2 webinars, which took place on March 16th and March 30th, are available at the CWP website under Water Urban, and also the recordings and report and PPT from this one will be available. As you can see, we're going to have a very comprehensive program. We will start with 2 setting the scene presentations by myself and Dragan Savic from KWR. And after that, we will have a number of very interesting presentations on current state-of-the-art solutions related to the topic of today, digitalization. And we will end with a roundtable where we will discuss, among others, to which extent the market actually requests state-of-the-art solutions, or if there are certain barriers to making full use of everything available offered by the business community. One of the things about digitalization is that it opens for a range of discussions. Digitalization will allow for management based on much more data. It will allow for integration of approaches covering the full water cycle. Both of these are new features for the water sector, but are also something which will challenge what some places are can be seen as a silo-based context. Wastewater by itself, water supply by itself, groundwater management by itself, or river basin management is by itself. So how do we handle the fact that digitalization will work and will have its particular strength across the silos, but a lot of our organization, a lot of our tenders stays within the silos. And particularly for the places where we will have a lot of stakeholders on board, who will actually pay, who will benefit, and who will decide in these multi-stakeholder situations. And how about data management, data sharing, and data access? And what about current tenders based on standards which might not be up to date and don't include digitalization? These are some of the questions which I will already now ask you to keep in mind during all presentations, including the first one, which will be my own, where I will dive a bit deeper into what digitalization will offer. So with this, I will end this welcome slide, and I will start sharing my second PPT. I just need to find where it is. Sorry, I will have to access this over here. There. So. Hopefully you are all able to see my PPT now. I will take you through some reflections on the digital transformation in the water sector. Where will we see the potentials? What impact could it have? But also where will we see some of the challenges to our current organization and market functioning? First of all, just taking you through the water sector global perspective very quickly, is that water, considered by the World Economic Forum as a top 3 global risk factor for 7 consecutive years. And the SDG goals point to that a huge number is without access to safe drinking water and sanitation. Further, looking just a bit ahead, 10 years down the road, we will see that demand will outstrip supply substantially, and that climate change will magnify these challenges. To my opinion, and hopefully shared by a lot of people and the speakers we will hear, digital transformation might be the opportunity to address all of these challenges, but it will require something from us. It will require that we start organizing how, according to how water is actually working, don't respecting normal administrative boundaries. We will also have to look into that for various reasons. The water sector is conservative, slow, risk averse, and actually difficult for investors. So getting the business case right might be difficult. There are policy risks, which means that authorities don't necessarily provide clear outlooks to how the market should respond to the regulatory cases, including getting prices right. The digital transformation is something which has an ecosystem of management, which we'll have to look into. It starts on the left with the system boundaries for data generation. How are authorities, utilities, and water cycles actually organized? And what does that mean to how are we going to getting more data? Do we gather the data within the right boundaries? Or should we look at where we have to change the boundaries for data gathering? Do we have all the equipment ready? And one of the conclusions already is that we cannot have yet sensors or other equipment which actually covers water quality in all its parameters. So what do we do with that? We're looking into data quality, comparing across silos, and how to make it, how to organize it, quality assurance, and how to access it to all relevant stakeholders. Then comes on the benefit side. Do we have analysis tools, the modeling, prognosis, and full use of AI in place yet? And who are actually the beneficiaries? Are the beneficiaries the same as the end users, or what I call the challenge use owners? And do all have the sufficient digital competences, the financial resources to invest in all of the tools necessary to make full use? And how do we actually make cost-benefit assessments? Do we have the right framework conditions in place, the incentives for the end users to invest in the digital universe? And my claim is already no, we don't have the right framework conditions. One of the places is that pricing often is subsidized. It's on water and it's on energy. And that means that going back to the system boundaries, all again, is that also in place for making full use of data, which can suddenly fulfill all the aspirations of the water sector, integrated river basin management as one of them, which has been a dream for the water sector, but not possible to fulfill because data either hasn't been sufficient or there have been too many for our tools to accommodate. Another aspect when looking into digital transformation is whether you will approach it as a transformation, starting on a vision for how things should be by 2030 and address it from there. Or if you try to optimize within the current organization, the current boundaries, approaches, and incentive schemes as it is. And you'll not get the same result for these. And my concern is that too many will just optimize without looking sufficiently on a visionary basis into a transformation. Here is a point of view of the digital journey we're going through, with digitization being improving monitoring, example giving, but transformation being where you're actually taking the end user and customer perspective much more into perspective. But finally, looking into the digital reinvention, it may be a thing which we currently see in the consumer world, where a lot of things are being digitally reinvented. And if you compare the water sector to such a digital journey, my claim will be that we will have digital transformation taking place within the utilities, but for much of the public water sector, we have only started on digitization yet. The water sector offers potential for efficiency and effectiveness. The first one being on improving all of the operations, more data, increased speed, better performance, etc. But increased effectiveness is where we see the benefits with improved results. For the expectations, we can see a lot of things which relate to the utilities. And you will see also that the investments upcoming will particularly be related to the operations of utilities. And it's actually not so difficult to understand, because within utilities, the situation is that we will have one owner, one who pays, one who benefits, and one who decides. Whereas when we get into the urban water situation, you'll have much more stakeholders. And if you move to the river basin situation, we will have even more stakeholders on board. And the picture on who invests, who benefits, and who decides will become much more difficult to deal with. Here's a picture from the Bluefield research showing the expectations of CapEx savings. That means construction cost savings in the coming years. And you can see that this institution, which has made an analysis of utilities in several countries, foresee huge potentials in savings over the coming years, based primarily on that we are able to work in a much more precise manner. Now, if you look at some of the expectations which relates to what I'll call the open universes, like the urban setting, the rural setting, and the river basin management, there are several potentials related to improved management, integrated solutions, and so on, reducing pollution events. But again, do we have the right organization? Do we have the right setup for actually making use? That are some of the things we should, as authorities, look into. Looking at availability of sensors, we made at the Danish EPA an analysis a couple of years ago, and what we could see was that we actually had mature sensors or other type of equipment ready for the quantitative water parameters, level, flow, etc. And we also had some availability of equipment for sensors for monitoring real-time online for more simple chemical parameters. But when we looked into the advanced chemical parameters, we could see that only a few places did we have the mature sensors, while in most places they were not available yet. What we will see is that these will be available within the next 3 to 8 years. And that means we are looking into a situation where utilities and authorities gradually will invest and be able to invest into parameters showcasing advanced parameters, and have to base the monitoring systems and planning on that these possibilities will gradually be available. Just one example or a few examples from the urban setting, where we are able to now to monitor quite precisely how example given precipitation will unfold in flooding. but we'll also have a very complex picture again about who decides, who pays, and who benefits. And among the benefits, you can also see the recreational possibilities. Jumping to the urban areas and the possibilities of using, example, re-meandered rivers or wetlands in part of the water quality improvement. You'll also see again here there are a lot of stakeholders, particularly the farming community and others who will have to be part of the decision making. This aspect will be one of those we will pick up during the autumn when we will have a series of webinars dealing with rural water, including wetland restoration. Another example of a complexity is the groundwater management, where again you can see several stakeholder situations are part of this, and how do we again find out who pays and who benefits. There are a lot of smart systems, and one of the slides I often get a lot of attention from is when you integrate the wastewater with other energy situations into energy factories, utilizing organic waste from industry and households, but also getting a lot of benefits. Again, digitalization will help us, but again, we get into a multi-stakeholder situation with a lot of regulatory requirements which will have to be in place. And we can only start guessing about how will the situation unfold when we talk about smart cities, which covers a lot of situations. Here, the cities will, of course, enter the scene and will have their opinions about data gathering and data organization and accessing. And the urban authorities might not have the same opinions as the water sector stakeholders about data organization. That will be very interesting to follow. I will now skip my presentation from here and only hope for all of you to be inspired to move towards the strategic agility, covering the speed of change and also the complexity of our systems. And I want to invite Professor Dragan Savic from the KWR to take the floor and take us on with your your reflections about the digital transformation. Dragan, please.
Thank you, Henrik. Hello, everyone. I'm trying to share my presentation, which I hope you can see now. Basically, we are in a digitalization age, and I'd like to start with three things to take away from this presentation. Well, the first one is that digital water technologies are largely available, as Henrik mentioned in his presentation, and water sector is already benefiting from digital transformation or entering it. But one thing that I want to really emphasize is that more automation and digitalization means more training for people, not less. So that's one of the things that we cannot forget in this process. Henrik said, I come from the organization called KWR, whose motto is Bridging Science to Practice. We are a non-for-profit science-based company with about 180 scientists covering the full water cycle and long history behind the organization. What I'd like to emphasize here is that there is quantity of information that we collect these days as a world is unprecedented. 90% of the data in the world today has been created in the last 2 years alone. And also that we have the ability to measure, sense, and monitor the condition of almost everything. I mean, again, Henrik showed that we don't still have some sensors, but most of the stuff we can do. And also connected devices and digital services transform many aspects of our world. Just think about transport and Uber, or tourism with Airbnb, or banking with banking apps, and education with MOOCs. So how about water? I mean, that's something that we are focusing here. Water is also benefiting quite a lot from it. You can see on the left that International Water Association has a digital water program, and International Association of Hydro Environmental Research has interest special issue or in artificial intelligence. There is a Smart Water Networks Forum. And I'm glad that Henrik mentioned silos, because this is how I see digital water, as an integrator across utility or different silos. And let's just go briefly through digital water technologies to remind ourselves what are some of the achievements already. For example, artificial intelligence use. This is an example from the United Utilities company, water company in the UK. They're using neural networks, artificial intelligence tool for leak detection. So you can see on the graph blue lines representing the measurement of a pressure, and then the green vertical dashed line represent when the neural network alerted them of something going wrong even before the signal changed considerably, and then they had to do minor and major service. And this is something that at KWR developed artificial intelligence for leakage management, the full cycle from the measurement to analysis to network model and to localization. Remote sensing and cloud tools are also very important. You can see satellite imagery, you can see drones. They can be used for crop management or leakage management in urban situations. Google Earth Engine is the satellite data processing and display platform. Dias online platform that allow users to discover, manipulate, process, and download Copernicus data. You have Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure Web Services. And then we look into nature-inspired computing. These are physics and biology-based approaches and algorithms like genetic algorithms, cellular automata, neural networks, fuzzy logic. And you can see here an application in multi-objective optimization of district metering area design. And you can see 3 or even 4 dimensions on the graph on the right, where we can see cost, surplus, reliability shown. And then digital twins, everybody is talking about them these days. This is an example from KWR, where we're looking into digital twin of the city of Eindhoven, water network with 220,000 inhabitants. And we use mobile data to allocate demand. So the demand for water is where the people are at the moment. And that can be also assessed through different means. And this just shows how normal week, which is blue, or orange peak week, high demand, and vacation week, low demand, look into this digital twin. Robotics is another area where there is quite a lot of kind of usage of this technology in the water sector, or lots of interest in that technology. This is an example of a prototype of inspection robot that can actually twist through all the corners, and it's autonomous robot. It's a robot, in this case it's tethered, so it's connected with a link, but the latest one is completely autonomous. It can recharge, collect the data, send the data without needing to be directly connected. Everything is doing wirelessly. So the point here is that digital water technologies are largely available. So what is missing? That would be a good question. And in that case, I just want to remind you about what happened in the aviation and the car industry. So Aviation and car industries are interesting from the digital technology standpoint, as safety is of paramount importance, like in the water industry, but also because they have made the most significant strides towards full automation. You have Tesla self-driving cars, you have autopilots on every plane. So although enormous effort and investment have gone into those systems to be able to perform actions alone, most must still interact with humans who supervise their work, directing and overseeing their performance or collaborate with them. So the case of Tesla Autopilot not being able to prevent several car collisions, for example, on the photograph here, you can see the collision with a fire truck in the States, or Boeing 737 and its maneuvering characteristics augmentation system, as they call it, MCAS, software that is suspected to have played a role in 2 aircraft crashes with significant loss of life. So what happened? The MCAS was engaging automation against the reactions of the pilot. So again, this is just a reminder what automation looks like and how it requires still human. For the Tesla, the main reason for that collision was that the driver didn't have their hands on the steering wheel all the time. They thought because they have a autopilot in a car, they could leave it and read a book. So my point here is, and also applies to water systems, is that human in the loop is required, but also requires training. Because, for example, in Boeing 737 MAX, some pilots didn't even know that they have that feature because Boeing decided not to publicize it or not to train them as well. So that was one of the key reasons why they failed. So human in the loop is absolutely necessary. So if we go back, and this is the end of my presentation, if we go back to the 3 things to remember, so the digital water technologies are largely available. Just think about artificial intelligence tools, about optimization tools, about serious gaming, about applications, about virtual reality and augmented reality, allowing people to walk in the street and superimpose what's on the tablet, what's in reality, about satellite and drone data that we can collect. All of that is now available to our water systems. So the water sector is already benefiting from digital transformation. Obviously, not to the point where we have that complete change, like in Henrik's presentation from IBM, where from transformation we got to complete re-envisioning of the water systems and how they are managed. And human in the loop. And again, digital transformation is not only about technology. It's about humans. It's about how we, as humans, accept and how are prepared for that automation and that technology. So more automation means more training, not less. And at this, I will finish my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will stop sharing. If I manage to do that. I'm trying.
Thank you very much, Dragan. These are important conclusions to have on the screen for a while. So thank you for being in the loop with us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, and I hope you will stay for the webinar and for the roundtable. The roundtable is a stepping stone in raising the discussion, but one of the most important next stepping stones will be that we will have a couple of seminars or sessions at the upcoming Aquatech Shanghai. So for those of you who are able already are in China and able to take part, there will be possibilities to actually meet and discuss this, and that will be handled by Mr. Liam Jia and colleagues from the EU SME Center. So Liam, please tell us what can be offered for those who either can be present in Shanghai or can follow the digital versions, which will also offer from there.
Okay, thank you very much, Henrik. Thanks for the introduction as well. Indeed, like what you have mentioned, and I also see many familiar names who have been with us since the first webinar, which we have also mentioned about our participation at the Aquatech in Shanghai, beginning of June. And over the weeks, things has also developed. We are making some progress in making it happen. I'm very happy to be able to share with you some of the updates. And before that, maybe it's a good idea that I introduce a little bit about the EU SME Center. If you can see my screen sharing. The EU SME Center, we are a project funded by the European Commission already since 2010. Currently, we're in the third phase of the project. Our mission is to provide support to increase the knowledge of SMEs on the China market, to raise their awareness, and to eventually provide support for SMEs in developing trade and investments in China. These are the four main services we offer by these four centers. To start with, we have a knowledge center where we publish a good comprehensive range of market reports and guidelines. We also have one advice center where we provide first-line advice to companies covering business development, covering market access, legal issues, and also HR. We also provide trainings both offline and online on a wide range of China-related business issues. Last but not least, we also have a advocacy platform where we constantly voice on behalf of the European SMEs to the Chinese governments, to the government authorities, to the counterparts, constantly working on improving the business environment in general for European companies in China. Some examples of the publications, resources we have. All this information you can have access through the website of the USME Center, and they're all free of charge for European SMEs. I would also like to take this chance to introduce this new tool that we have developed, where SMEs can have a diagnosis session themselves by filling in questionnaires, and to eventually get a analysis reports on the readiness towards the China markets. In a nutshell, these are the different perspectives of how we provide support for companies, SMEs in the water sector in accessing the China markets, both on markets information, on the presentations on the policy side, as well as linking the companies to the relevant stakeholders, including the government oversight, including local design institutes, and so on. Our goal eventually, of course, is to match the solution holders with the challenge owners here in China. And coming back to what I've mentioned in the beginning, our participation at the Aquatech in Shanghai. It will be a hybrid participation of the SME Center together with China Europe Water Platform, by both physically being at the fair, by having a stand and possibly a small booth, and also by online participation. And there's also going to be possibilities where companies from Europe can participate, even with the travel ban. So we call it customized exhibition, and the recruitment of companies, we hope to start doing that soon. There's also possibilities for matchmakings, and of course we are also going to organize activities on site, including on-site seminars, where we'll also potentially connect companies online from Europe. And from the SME Center side, we are also going to be there with a small team of in-house experts, where we'll provide consultations to companies who are participating, and also possibilities to provide due diligence services for companies. Mostly will be free of charge, but also depends eventually on the different ways how we will participate. Very briefly, I have introduced the SME Center and our participation at Aquatech, and for all the companies, if you are interested in getting to know us better, or you have a question, you are all welcome to reach out to us at USME Center. And that is the end of my short presentation, Henrik.
Thank you very much, Liam. So looking forward to, well, I wish I could say that I was looking forward to see you all in Shanghai, but due to travel situation, that will not be possible. But I'm looking forward to that some at least will gather and follow up our discussions from here. Without further ado, thank you, Liam. We will move on to Bruno Lopetier from Civeco, who will look into a number of case studies. Please, Bruno.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm like the other participants trying to share my screen, doing it more or less efficiently. I'll be at the same time I'll start speaking if you don't mind. I'm pleased to be here with you today, and to echo on the last two speakers. Liam said some of us will be in Shanghai for Aquatech. I'm in Shanghai. I've been in Shanghai for 20 years. I will be happy to join Aquatech again this year, so I'll meet some of you guys. Can you hear me? No. And to echo what Dragan was saying about digitalization, tools are available, and what is missing is what I will present today. My PPT is not starting, and my sorry for that. Can you look at it? I'm speaking as the PPT is going to start soon. So my agenda today is very simple, and I'll keep it to 8 minutes in spite of the technical issues. The slide will probably show soon. You'll get a copy of the slides. I will talk about case studies of asset management, digitalization in China. And I will, through the case studies, I'll describe an approach. Can you share that one? I'll describe an approach based or focused on people.
Ja, ik weet even niet meer. Bruno,
Yeah. Sorry for that. We cannot share.
Bruno, shall I share your presentation?
If you can do that, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
It's not shared. Where is Zoom?
Bruno,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, shall I share my screen and put your presentation on my
That would
screen?
be wonderful. Sorry for that, since nothing is operating properly on my side.
Okay, I will try.
Can you open this one? This one. I'll
它这个是录屏的吗？还是什么？
对，他在录。
Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
Can you see it now?
Here is your presentation.
So you are. We are blocked. Nothing's working.
所以说先全关了才行。
Henrik, can you take it over and
Yes, we will change the sequence. We will move on to Helena Allegra. Helena, please take the floor here, and we will get Bruno into the loop afterwards. Helena, are you ready to step in?
Yes, I was already in, but I had forgotten to put on the camera and the sound, and I had to come back.
Excellent.
Sorry. So can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
we can see you.
Sorry, not my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, so sorry. Is it okay now?
It's coming. Yep, it's there.
Okay, so. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon to everybody. So Dragon's presentation was ideal for the introduction of my own presentation. I'm going to focus on leveraging innovation for a smart management in the whole urban water cycle from our perspective, LANEC, which is an applied research organization. It stands for Portugal National Laboratory for Civil Engineering. It's a state-owned organization founded already almost 80 years ago. That has a unique multidisciplinary and system-based approach for civil engineering. We focus on a project-oriented research, applied research, problem-solving research. We are about 600 persons comprising 150 permanent, high qualified, normally PhD researchers, and around 130 research grant holders and trainees. So our main domains of activity includes all types of civil engineering systems, as you can see in this slide, but today I'm going to emphasize on the hydraulics and environmental domain and area, the department I am chair of, I'm the head of. So if we look at the hydraulics and environmental department, we cover our activity covers the full water cycle, including natural waters, river, transitional and coastal waters, as well as urban waters. And the urban waters are today's topic, naturally. We cover both the water quantity, the hydraulics itself, but also the quality, including the ecological quality of the water. And also the water uses by human activities. So the water, but also the structure, interactions, and all the system behavior of the different types of systems related to water uses by human activities. Our hydraulics and environmental strategic lines include the hydraulic structures themselves, environment and aquatic systems, risk management and safety, urban water, and information systems applied to water and environment at broad. So today we're focusing on the urban water. And to do that, I think we need to think of the main challenges, and digitalization needs to be put into context. When we talk about digital transition, we need to understand what are the key challenges that we need to address. Digitalization is not an objective in itself, but is a means in order to better achieve our objectives, and to reply to our main challenges. So we have now much more demanding requirements related to health and public safety, related to circular economy and resources, resource efficiency, to infrastructure asset management. We need to have a strategic asset management in place. And this far from being the situation now in most regions of the world. We have climate dynamics that, of course, is challenging with all the natural hazards we need to address. We need to work much more efficiently and effectively in collaborative processes, both in resource management and alignment between land and water management, between different services, between organizations, between partners. This was an issue that was tackled by both Enrique and Dragan, and I couldn't be more in agreement with that. And we have also the EU green economy and the reindustrialization. That is an issue that is a priority in Europe, and I believe is also an important aspect for China. At LUNEC, we have been working a lot in peer-to-peer innovation alliance with the water utilities. We believe that multidisciplinary approaches, system approaches, and co-production are three keywords that are fundamental to tackle these challenges. So we have developed these innovation alliance projects, these collaborative projects in four main domains, four main areas: strategic asset management, water and energy and access, reliability, safety and resilience, and water quality treatment and reuse. So here you see the names of the different collaborative projects that we have been working with. About Pure Waters is about performance assessment, about about strategic asset management, about water losses, about water and water quality. Very briefly, I'm going to mention some of them. So 2 editions were already dedicated to water losses and energy management, where we insist that we need to have really not a silo approach of these problems, but we need to address them together and to have to put water losses control and energy management not only together between them, but also as part of a more strategic asset management that we need to have in the utilities. And so together we produced water and energy balances for all the utilities that participated. We developed tools for assessing water losses and system energy efficiency, performance assessment. The utilities participating produced their own action plans. So each one produced their own in an assisted and guided way their plans. And with that, we create significant savings, both in terms of water losses, real losses mainly, and about energy savings. We also are currently finalizing another collaborative project that has to do with energy efficiency assessment and sustainability of water services. That the results is a baseline for the water sector and the identification of energy drivers in each stage. We have a really systematic approach where we look all together with the water supply, wastewater, and stormwater for the main aspects in each one of these sectors. Understanding simultaneously the efficiency and the effectiveness in order to better identify priorities, issues, and then address and compare possible improvement solutions. We are also finishing another collaborative projects in the field of irrigation systems. So the issue of water losses and energy efficiency in agriculture, in irrigation systems is an issue in Portugal, and I believe is an issue internationally. From the information available, it's really an international issue. And again, we are developing a system approach where we are addressing the nexus water and energy with a good assessment, with performance indicators that really allow for identifying and then monitoring the effect of improvement solutions. This is also a way to support the definition of public policies that can lead to better results. The expected water and savings are about or are above 20%. Another of these projects has to do with energy, water quality and treatment. So it's very much about both drinking water and wastewater treatment plans, but seen in the scope of the utility of the system as a whole. Again, not silo approach, but a general approach where we work with the benchmarking tools, infrastructure asset management. We produce tutorials in order to improve the energy efficiency of the treatment plants, where we work out rethinking treatment from the asset management perspective, but really trying to enhance the existing plans in order to make them adequate to the current challenges, addressing the current challenges and preparing the current plans for the future.
1 minute, Helena.
Yeah, we have also worked down in advanced treatment systems, for instance, membrane together with activated carbon. So we have the links for the projects here. You can just try and look at them. Also advanced treatments for water reuse, again in collaborative projects. And as it was already referred, standardization is a very important aspect when we talk about innovation, when we talk about digital transition. So we have been very active in multiple ISO standard committees And here is just an example, water reuse, another is asset management. So we believe that bringing together co-work with the development of the right standards is the way forward. So key pillars for success: co-production, system approaches, multidisciplinarity. LANAC plays a major role in developing new knowledge, in leveraging innovation by co-creation and capacity building, and advisory on public policies, regulation, and standardization. So please visit our website and our project's websites for more information. So we see that, in fact, digital transition needs to serve these objectives. We need to have competent people. We need really to create capacity building so that people really take the benefit from digital transition, not looking at digital transition as as an objective in itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helene. Very, very interesting, important conclusions. As we have lost a bit of time, we will rush on to Bruno's presentation. So please, Bruno.
Thank you so much. So I think you all witnessed an example of how both IT and people are important. IT didn't work, but the people looked like a fool. And so that's actually my point today, talking about smart water. I will focus on asset management and operation and maintenance, and I will make my presentation a bit shorter because indeed I wasted time. And I will look at what is usually missing in so-called smart water projects. And it's usually not technology, it's more maybe on the people side. I will do this through case studies. Just a few words about a company. We are a company based in China. Many of you know us already, actually. We have a 35 years history, originally a French company in China for 16 years. So we have seen how the environmental market developed since 2004, because we focus on environmental projects, IT projects for environmental clients, started long before the market became hot. Back in 2004, everybody was saying the water market in China is not sophisticated. They don't care about maintenance. But we went into it. Today is a very hot market for so-called smart water. Every IT company tries to get in. So we benefit from this experience. So I just without talking further about a company, I will be sharing some of these stories, and I'll be talking about life cycle management, asset life cycle management, or you might say O&M, operation and maintenance, throughout the life cycle of water assets. And I won't go through details of this picture you see on the screen, but this is a typical life cycle of complex assets, plants, and there is a lot to be optimized throughout the life cycle of water assets. And in China in particular, for different reasons, I will not go deeper into this. You'll get a copy of the slides you can read. And this is good news. It's very good news because water companies in China are running rather well in a strongly regulated market. But we can do better. And that is indeed very good news. So that's our focus as a company, myself for so many years here, and trying to use digital technologies to achieve improvement in water asset management, which will translate in better availability, in better service levels, in water quality, regulatory compliance, cost control, of course, is another important aspect of this. I have two case studies. They happen to be sewage water companies, but we have actually worked a lot in freshwater supply as well, both on plants and network side. But I have actually two case studies of wastewater. One where we involved on an existing facility to optimize existing assets, and the other one would be on a greenfield project where we involved during the construction of the plant. And I will go quickly through this, try to highlight a few things, and again, you can get a copy of the slides later. The first case study is the sewage water business of Jiangsu Sino-French Water, which is a joint venture between Sino-French Water, which is itself a joint venture of Suez, and Changshu Water, Changshu being large, some we say medium-sized city in China, because there are 1 million people there. You can read a little bit more here. It's a well-known company with a history of excellence in terms of maintenance, in terms of asset management, and in terms of IT. And they have their own IT company, and they supply IT systems to other companies as well. And they have done lots of very innovative, smart projects. However, in 2019, they realized they had needs to improve service levels, safety management, regulatory compliance, reliability, especially on the wastewater side of the business, and to contain cost of operation and maintenance. And they realized their IT systems, their great IT systems, could not really achieve this, could not really help. So they came to us at that point. And to give you a better picture here, I said the environmental, the smart water market is very hot in China. You have a lot of companies try to get in. I mean, this is an example of a company that have their own IT company that they own and operate. They have worked also with IBM using asset management system. They have worked with GIS companies that have really invested a lot of money, but still their operational needs could not be met. So we convinced them actually, and together we decided to have a new approach to IT transformation to achieve their needs based on the ISO 55000 standard, which is the asset management standard that some of you know. So we use the standard as a framework to drive the project instead of using IT to drive. With this approach, it actually took 3 months only to have a system up and running that actually achieved their operational goals within the overall IT infrastructure. So 3 months for them very short, because they had been investing in technology for a very long time. By using ISO 55000, we focused purely on their needs. So we didn't try to have a system that does everything. We tried to focus on what was needed. And that included standardizing asset data, which was not done before. And that included having operators and maintenance staff, the technicians, using the system. So we put the people in the loop of the system. We also put the top managers in the loop of the systems through this kind of display. Very successful projects. They recently got an award by a water association, E20, that many of you in China know. It's totally paperless now, and this system was a base for continuous improvement based on the data in the system. So that was a good example for us. The other one is a greenfield project in Hong Kong. I picked this one because Hong Kong Drainage Service Department is also very famous as an operator owner, and they have also spent a lot of money in very big IT projects and very successful IT projects, but they still had operational needs mandated by the government in terms of life cycle management and in terms of using ISO 55000, the standard I mentioned before, to strengthen their operation and regulatory reporting. Knowing that the Hong Kong market was sophisticated earlier than us in China, in mainland China, but today they actually build very advanced facilities that they are not used to manage. So it's becoming more sophisticated technically. This one is an example of the Shanghai sewage treatment work. So we started a project with them from the early construction stage, from the late design stage, you would say. And we designed together with them the IT system for asset management. Again, using the ISO 55000 standard as a framework. And the plant started operation recently, a few months ago. So we followed the entire project from the beginning to the end. It's several years. So it's not as fast as the previous project, because here we had the time to follow the construction project. The system is up and running. So the benefit to them was to have an asset management system in place from startup stage, actually from commissioning, totally paperless. And the users are part of the system. So same as before, the technicians are using the system on mobile. The system is integrated with SCADA for predictive maintenance. and system is also integrated with BIM models. They are now deploying it on another project in Hong Kong, so also a successful case. So just to conclude, again, technology is available, all kind of technology, and that's very good, including our own technology. It has to come into place altogether, and we found the ISO 55000 standard is actually very useful for that. And we, coming from an O&M or asset management background, we really activate this standard to deploy projects. That's what I describe here. Common pitfalls for such IT projects are to be driven by IT and to be focused on systems. We believe projects should be focused on people, processes, improvement processes. And again, the ISO 55000 standard is a very good tool to help everyone in the project, including IT. IT is important, but including to help them focus on what matters for the asset management strategy and the asset management goals of the company. The approach works very well. We have lots of clients, so I mentioned only two. This is kind of, this is the feedback we get from clients in our yearly customer satisfaction survey, but mostly it says that the approach helps deliver operational improvement. So how about IT? There are still IT suppliers. You have Huawei doing big smart water projects. You have Alibaba, you have IBM, you have big consulting firms, you have local IT companies in China, lots of IT companies. You still have GIS suppliers. You have all kind of companies getting to the hot smart water market. They have their role to play in this, and we are not competing with them. But we bring in this know-how and around the ISO 55000 standard with our own tools, which are people driven, to make this smart water infrastructure more practical, more user-friendly, and more beneficial in terms of day-to-day operations and asset management. That's what we do. That's what I try to share briefly. You have some contact persons here on the screen, including myself. Don't hesitate. And I'll be happy to join the panel discussion and to meet you guys in Aquatech Shanghai later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruno, as usual, for a very comprehensive and interesting presentation. It seems like, and also you can see that from the Helena's comment in the chat, that ISO 55000 and that universe may be the winner of today for all of our discussions. It seems like there's a lot of perspective on that one. We will move quickly on to Ollie from KeyPro. Thank you, Bruno, and welcome to Ollie.
Yes, thank you. And just a second, I will share my screen so you can see my presentation. Okay, so hopefully you can see my presentation now. So yes, my name is Olli Kaukola and I'm from a company called KeyPro, and I will tell you a little bit how to manage these water network assets, including IoT, and what kind of problems are usually involved based on our experience. So a short introduction about our company. So we are a Finnish software company, and we have also a very strong background in service side. So basically we help water companies to manage their network assets. And we have around 100 people working for us and over 300 customers globally. And basically this solution, what we're talking about today is this, to put it in a simple way, it's a browser-based platform where you can manage your water, sewer, and stormwater networks. And what we usually do is that we interface this system with third-party systems like IoT, customer relationship management, remote metering, etc. And this means that we can collect extensive amount of information to one system and create different kind of visualization so that people understand like what is the current situation with the network. And of course, then we can do some like advanced modeling, like hydraulic modeling, to if the customer wants to understand how the network behaves in different situations, and also like locate leakages and other little bit more advanced stuff. So one case story. This is a Finnish water company called Kymenvesi. So several years ago, they deployed this Key Aqua system, and basically we imported all the network data from old systems. We interfaced this system with customer relationship management system, and then some IoT and remote metering systems, so that we could gather all the data to one system and show it to all the users. So basically all the stakeholders, whether they're internal, external, so basically everyone who is working for this water company can actually see the data, they have access to data, and they can use this information to improve the water company's overall performance. So basically, if we use this kind of a modern solution that we have like several IT system and we integrate those, we move information between the system, it means that like the water companies can more efficiently manage their network. They understand the situation, and they can like improve the drinking water quality when they have like very systematic network maintenance in place. They can improve customer satisfaction. They can also fulfill different regulations, and of course like reduce operating expenses, so that this whole cost structure is not increasing too much. And to highlight some benefits here is that maybe one of the most important thing is to improve the quality of the drinking water, and it includes a lot of things like decreasing the amount of supply interruptions, stuff like that. And you can achieve this by doing like a very systematic plan with your network maintenance and also future investments. So you can optimize this operating expenses and capital expenses, so that you have really systematic way to manage the whole network. And this can be done by using this huge amount of information and integrating systems and ensuring the data flow between the systems. And of course, there's some additional things also, like improving the customer satisfaction, like communicating with customers in different way. And again, we can like use these kind of integrated solutions to send like text messages, fault maps, these kind of things. And of course, there's it depends where we are, but there is also governmental regulations about the data management. So if you have basically all the necessary data managed systematic, you can fulfill these regulations relatively easily. So based on our experience when it comes to these markets, is that these customer requirements and understanding can vary a lot depending on the country or case. So basically, sometimes we see very simple requirements, and then we see basically impossible requirements. And what's common with all of these cases is that I would say that 90% of the cases, the customer, which means the water company, doesn't know how the solution can be implemented from technical point of view. And this is the huge challenge, because we get a lot of requests that we have IT systems and we want integration between those. So, okay, from supplier point of view, the first question is that you want integration. Well, what does it mean? Because there can be like 100 or 1,000 different ways to do the integration. So usually the requirements what we get are very vague. We cannot say what the customer actually wants. There is no like use case description, so that we could understand like how the customer wants to use the system. There's no end results defined. We don't know what they want to achieve. And of course, like deadlines are sometimes too tight, because the customer is asking something which requires huge amount of work, but it has to be done like in a few weeks. So this is also problematic. And sometimes the contract terms and conditions might include like huge risks, so that if we understand that the water company wants to outsource all the risks to supplier, so if they are not sure what they want. But from supplier point of view, if we get like offer requests where the requirements are very vague, so we don't actually know what we need to deliver, and then it includes all the risks, so that if project is not successful, basically the supplier is responsible. So we have seen a lot of these kind of like offers, and then quite often it happens that we cannot even provide anything. We cannot create offer because it's just the whole case is too risky, too vague. So the most important thing, if we want to deliver satisfactory results within reasonable time and money, is that we have open discussion with customer so that both parties understand what can be offered, what can be done, and how to implement it. So if I reflect on these tender procedures, is that like during these public tendering processes, the water company requirements are usually very high. And like I mentioned, the needs described are very vague. So this is the huge challenge for, especially for software companies, to offer and deliver solutions, because basically we need to guess what customer this time wants. And the problem with these procurement processes is that it's not able to start one-to-one open discussion with the end customer about the exact needs and in general how to fulfill those and what they want and what's their current situation. So basically emails are not enough. It's not enough that we can ask questions in procurement portal, because usually when we ask questions like via emails or via procurement portal, the answers we get are even more confusing. So if we want to deliver good results with reasonable price, always this open discussion is needed between all the parties, so that we can actually implement these cost-efficient, high-quality solutions. And sometimes it's also funny that due to these fixed procurement requirements and rules, these like software and solution providers cannot even offer a better and cheaper solutions, because the requirements are fixed and you need to basically deliver what is written in the tender. So like if I just like recap the whole thing, like how to deliver excellent results, is that of course we understand that customer they don't have technical knowledge how to implement these solutions, especially when we talk about integrations, data management, which are like can be highly technical things to implement, and there can be like 100 or 1,000 ways to do it. So we need to find out what's the best way for this customer, and this is why we need to have this open discussion. And after all the details are discussed, when every stakeholder is aligned with what can be done, what cannot be done, how much time it takes, what is the cost level, what's the suitable end result. So after that, this public tendering process is a good way to get cost-efficient offers, but only if those requirements are defined in a sufficient detailed level and this open discussion with suppliers are held. So usually, well, I would say too many times we see that the water companies, they release some kind of a requirements, what they come up, and then they just ask offer based on this, and there's no possibility to create this kind of open discussion. So I would very much highlight the point that first open discussion with all stakeholders, and then this public tendering process, so we can ensure that the end result is it's a cost-effective, high quality, and delivered as it should be. So basically, that was my short presentation about these kind of technological challenges what we usually face in the market, and we try to teach water companies and our customers to have this kind of an open discussion before they actually release these procurement papers or ask like a dedicated offers. So that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olli. That was these were very, very interesting and important reflections on how the current tender procedures might become an obstacle for actually reaching the most optimal solution for the customers. Very, very important. Thank you very much. We quickly move on to Helika, who will take us into the service of the IP help desk. Thank you very much, Helika.
Thank you, Henrik, and good morning and good afternoon to everyone. And thank you again for inviting me to share the information about China IPR SME Help Desk project with you today. So China IP SME Help Desk is a European Union funded project designed to advise European small and medium-sized companies and startups with intellectual property rights issues when they internationalize their business to China. While not providing legal services, the project helps EU SMEs make informed IPR decisions for their business's success through provision of free charge information and services. These take the form of a jargon-free first-line confidential advice on intellectual property and related issues. I will come back to the help desk services in a minute, but at first I'd also like to highlight the importance of IP when internationalizing your business to China. In our experience, many SMEs fail to understand that IP, in fact, is one of their key business assets. And therefore, as research shows, it's about 80% of companies that fail in China fail so because of not having sufficiently protected their intellectual property when entering China's market. With the increased role of digitalization, as we saw in the previous presentations, SMEs engaged in the water sector are often technology intensive, and having a patent provides the SMEs with an exclusive right to exploit their invention on the market, gaining advantage over the competitors. If you have a patent, you can commercialize it by licensing it to Chinese companies, selling it, or making money on royalties. Furthermore, if you're looking for investors in China for your invention, having a patent gives you an advantage, as investors are are more interested in technology that has been patented, as it has higher value on the market due to the exclusive right of exploitation. And don't also forget that it's possible to patent business processes here as well and claim exclusive right of exploitation over those as well. And of course, it's not just patents that are important for the SMEs engaged in the water sector, as a registered trademark facilitates the development of a trusted brand associated with high quality. Despite the improvements in China's IP laws and regulations, bad faith trademark registration and trademark squatting are still commonplace in China. Many unscrupulous entities here make a business out of registering foreign trademarks, which have not yet been registered in China, to later sell your trademark back to you at inflated prices. Now, despite the beliefs that nothing can be done here against infringers, experience shows that foreign companies can successfully and do successfully enforce their rights in China when having all the appropriate registrations in place. Now, that means protecting IP in China should be an integral part of SME's business plan, and the help desk, of course, is here to provide IPR business tools and self-help solutions, enabling SMEs to make informed decisions about IPR protection in China. As mentioned earlier, all of the services of the help desk are free of charge, and I will quickly go through the main services that help desk offers. Our core service is being the helpline, which basically is an email address which SMEs can use to ask us any IP related question and receive a reply within 3 working days. We answer all IP related questions, no matter if it's basic question or a more complex question. You can use the email address that you can see on the slide to contact us. It is also possible to arrange a Zoom call or a meeting with our IP business advisor to discuss your issue in more detail. The helpline, of course, is totally confidential. We do not expose or use any information that you share with us. We also organize trainings and webinars on various IP issues in China and across Europe, usually in collaboration with chambers of commerce, business associations, or research institutions. In trainings and webinars, we cover a variety of issues ranging from basic IP protection to more complex issues. And most of our webinars are also uploaded on our website. You can see the address of the website, and I welcome everyone to check out the previous webinar recordings to learn more about IP. Of course, from our website, you can access a variety of materials, including infographics, e-learning materials, case study library, and of course, IP-related guides, which allow SMEs to gain knowledge on IP issues and to make informed decisions on IP protection in China. Our guides cover a variety of issues ranging from the basics of IP to industry-specific guides and the more detailed how-to guides. So you can see a few examples of our guides that can be more interesting to smart technologies or to smart innovative ideas in the water sector as well, and how to protect those. So I'd invite everyone to check the resources on China IPR SME Help Desk website to make sure that when you are entering China, you are well prepared and you know how to best protect your IP. With this, I will also end my short intervention. Introducing the China IP SME Help Desk project, and I do invite you to stay connected with us through social media channels or visiting via our website. We will also be present at the Shanghai Aquatech fair, so there we could offer any consultation sessions if needed. And of course, if there are any questions, I would be more than glad to answer these during the roundtable or after the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helle. Eventually, for some of the reports you highlighted in your presentation, please send links so we can introduce them already in the report from this webinar. And again, to mention that Helle will be present in Shanghai, so you can have direct access and consultations. Please make note of the conclusion in the introduction that 80% of companies fail to pay sufficient attention to this important feature. So with this, we will move quickly forward to Mr. Xiao Li from SCAN from Austria. Please, Xiao Li.
Henrik, I think we lost Xiao Li, so I think you can move forward to the next one.
Michael, will you be able to, Michael Sommer, will you be able to take the floor now?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Excellent. Please, please take it away.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon. I am Michael Sommer from the company Sommer Messtechnik in Austria. And I would like to talk today about, well, water measurement with the focus a little bit on flood measurement. So there's a little bit of lag in the presentation, it seems. Okay, so first a small introduction of our company, Sommer Messtechnik. So we are also Austrian-based company, and we are a family-owned company. So my father founded the company, and we are active worldwide. We have several offices in different locations, like Latin America, Malaysia, Austria, Italy, Germany. And we are more than 10 years already active in China and have more than 4,000 installations for water and especially flood measurement. So I would like to talk first a little bit about the basics. We have to understand water is the world's most precious resource. So without water, we cannot exist, right? And it's very, very important for that matter that we measure these water resources correctly. Not only for flood prediction, also for, you know, to predict the availability of water, also quantification of the resources itself. And as we already heard, other aspects are then interpret the data correctly, so the measurement data, understand them, and then learn and act. Okay, so only if we have high quality, correct data, we can make the right decisions for the future. Also an aspect, especially in China and in many other countries that have snow covers, is that a lot of our drinking water comes from snow melt. So we should not only look in the rivers and the waters or like in real water flows, we should also look into the snow and snow melt to learn more and also to get earlier information what will happen in the springtime. Other few key points of collecting measurement data, doesn't matter if flow, quality, or whatever data, is basically the value of the data. Why do I measure, and who else could be interested in my data? So who can I share my data with, or where can I get already existing data? Many stakeholders and customers think in a very regional way. So if I'm the operator in a city, I do not think about my upstream catchment area in the mountains, because that's probably a different province, and in many cases it's even a different country. So it is very important to look over the plate and you know, find out who else is collecting this data, who else would be interested in my data. Try to share that and try to use data from other stakeholders as well. Another aspect that we see quite a lot in China is, well, there are implementation of a lot of different measurement stations, but we always have to emphasize that the data quality is much more important than data quantity. There's actually no point of having a lot of data you cannot trust. Yeah, right? So you have to look forward and you have to think, okay, it's probably better to go with a more sophisticated solution, but we can really trust the data, rely on the data, and then make the right decision. Okay, so we as Sommer Messtechnik offer big variety on sensors, systems, also cloud software, data analysis tools, all these kind of things. And as I said, we also are looking into the snow, what is a huge part of the whole water environment for hydropowers, but also for flood management, urban flooding as well. If the rivers flowing through my city are heavily affected by snowmelt, it is super interesting to know, well, now the snow in the mountains start to melt and how much water I have to expect. Okay, and so our instruments can tell this at the very early stage, basically when the snowmelt starts, before the water comes out of the snowpack. But then we also measure the rivers. We measure water flows in not only rivers, but also in sewer systems, stormwater channels, drainage channels, well, all kinds of different water flow applications. And we also have different other environmental sensors like rain, snowfall, hail, evaporation. So we can deliver the whole package kind of for flood monitoring. Our main product that we deliver to China is actually non-contact radar flow meters. So we measure the water flow of rivers and channels and sewer systems without touching the water, because that's especially interesting for flooding, as flooding causes a lot of unique problems with high sedimentation, a lot of debris in the water. You cannot put any sensors inside the water, and that's why we developed a solution to measure water flows without touching it. Here I want to emphasize that we deliver these sensors to over 110 countries in the world. So basically all over the world, our systems are used. And we also are certified by the Ministry of Water Resources from China and also from different other countries. A little bit about the uniqueness of our product is that we not only measure the like velocity and water level and then leave it to the customer. We really calculate the hydraulic flow, so the flow of the river, the flow of the channel, and this all happens in the sensor. So it is super easy to integrate it in local data logging systems, SCADA systems, whatever. And this is a very big part of the accuracy, as many suppliers can deliver just the measurement part, but they do not have the kind of experience and knowledge in order to calculate the real accurate flow. Another interesting point is here a case study from the United States, where we work very closely with NOAA, also USGS and other institutions. This is from the Severe Storm Laboratory, where they installed several of our sensors in flash flood areas. So flash floods are floods that are kind of unpredictable and start through very, very heavy rains. And in this case, our sensors could monitor the complete flash flood, and the customer, Severe Storm Laboratory, found out that in many of these cases, if they look at the velocity of the water, instead of only water level, they can have a much earlier warning time. In this example here in Falls Creek, it was up to 1 hour. So having the combination of water level, velocity of the river, and the discharge gives you much more information and much more sophisticated, planning and management. Also, we're very active, as I mentioned, in China, and one of the projects we're working on is the Beijing Smart City / Sponge City project under the Ministry of Water Resources. And the Sponge City project has a couple of targets, right? So one, of course, is stormwater and flood protection, so measuring the floods, and also quantify high water events. That means you can measure water level in a channel and you know the water was very high, but you actually have no idea how much water was flowing through the flood time. And that makes it very challenging in order to, build flood prevention, build retention basins, to collect the flood water, as it is really important to also utilize these flood or storm waters later on. For example, part of the Beijing Sponge City project is to recharge groundwater with storm water, right? And just to ensure the hydrological cycle is, is more balanced, as currently around Beijing is very dry. The non-contact sensors, as we manufacture them, are perfect for this application. As I said, floods, to measure floods or stormwaters is very challenging in many cases. And therefore, the non-contact measurement is very interesting. We're not affected by solids or waste or debris. That happens a lot in stormwater. Yeah, sometimes there is a tree, sometimes there's other kinds of waste in the water. Also, the measurement system is not affected if there's just a low flow. As we can see on many of these pictures, they are taken in normal water situations. And the accuracy does not change if there is stormwater. So you will get reliable and high accuracy data all around the year. And also, as I briefly mentioned, we work exclusively with local integrators in China. That means we sell the sensors, and then local companies build basically the infrastructure. They build the data logging system and then send the data to their customers and stakeholders. Also, the local companies do all the maintenance, and we provide the training. We provide the sometimes, site inspections and go with them and into details and help them to implement everything. So this was a brief overview about the Sommer Messtechnik and what we do, and as I said, emphasizing on flood measurement. I don't know if the video stream comes through very fluently, but we have the video also online. And of course, you can later download the presentation. In the video, we can see a river that actually during sunshine has very high water levels, what is well, for many people, quite unusual, but it was the case that the snow was melting in the mountains and snowing, and actually not in the country. So this river is in Austria. It was actually all happening in Switzerland. So without data sharing between governments, our government would not have known that we are facing a critical situation, well, in the next few hours. But now that we share the data, that our government can access data from Switzerland, they know we are facing a critical situation in the future or in the close future, and so they can prepare in time. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. If there are any questions, I have the contact details of our representative in China, as well as our office here in Austria. So please feel free to send us and contact us anytime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for this very interesting presentation. And in particular, your emphasizing of the necessity of data to be shared within the catchment in question. That is a key conclusion also from my side, that if we don't have that, we will not have the full benefit of what digitalization offers you. Thank you very much, Michael. And as Peter says in the chat, very interesting. We will move on now to Mr. Xiao Li from ASCAN. Xiao Li, I hope you are with us.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay, can I start? Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
You just need to go to full screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. I got this full screen right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Henrik. Thank you for all. I would like to present today for ASCAN GmbH. ASCAN is an Austrian company. We are developing, producing and supplying water quality monitoring digital sensors. I would like to try to understand from the view of a sensor supplier to understand how can we contribute for digitalization for urban smart water management. So first, I would like to get a short introduction about ASCAN. Who is ASCAN and what is ASCAN doing? ASCAN GmbH, this is an Austrian company. We are developing online water quality monitoring sensors that simple, easy to use sensors, terminals and software for online water monitoring and control, water quality and event detection. The company was founded in 1999. There is a spin-off of university from Uni Boku, and we have the ASCAN product entry in China market since 2003. And we have established the rep office in 2006 in China, in Shanghai. So ASCAN is the pioneer and the global leader of online spectrometry meter. Yeah, it's the icebreaker for acceptance of UV spectrometry in many countries as a surrogate method to determine organics, for example, and nutritions and solids. We are mainly in, the key is in water quality. Yeah, organics like TOC, BOD, and COD, or nutritions, NO3, NO2, nitrate, and all other physical parameters like pH, DO, and EC conductivity, and so on. Today, we are offering a full range of optical and electronic chemical water quality monitoring sensors, systems, and software for drinking water, environmental water, wastewater, and industry water applications. To understand what can our digital sensors contribute for a digital, we call it as digital dynamic water quality monitoring. Here, as you see, when we talk about digital water quality monitoring, the whole system should include three main things, the very important things. And all the sensors, all the water quality monitoring sensors has to meet the three requirements. The first one is track water quality from source over distribution to consumption, and beyond into waste. That means the full range for the whole process from the beginning to the end. Okay, this is one point. The second point, we need to track any change of water quality at any point in real time. That means it's really we need to monitor to get the results in very short time, fast. Yeah. Right now, what we can see that for organics, for example, we can get it in 10 seconds in this interval with our spectrometry devices, sensors. Well, with other traditional chemistry chemistry cabinets analyzer, they need at least half or 1 hour to get one monitoring data. So it's too slow. And the third is we need to turn the data into valuable information and use it to manage the water system as efficient and environmental friendly as possible. That means how can we use this kind of information, right? A lot of readings, data. How can we do that based on the data collection? So that's, from our view, are the three key points for the future dynamic water quality platform that we have, that our sensors has to deliver these informations. And because our sensors consists of sensors, of terminals, of data supply services, and also in whole package solutions for different applications. Yeah, for example, for drinking water source monitoring, for drinking water pipe monitoring, just you can look at this picture on the left side. There we call it as a pipe scan. This is a compact, small drinking water pipe monitoring stations installed in pipe and can get real-time data. Okay, and for all very important parameters that our municipal drinking water works or authorities really needs. So this is the compact offering of the packaged solutions and stations. So on the right side, we also offer a lot of the very important softwares to ensure our quality or data quality. Yeah, if that means we have a data validation system. That means every readings from our sensors, before they send it out to our end user, they have to be validated and checked whether the data is correct, is reliable or not. And we have also called as ANA tool, that is an event detection tool. Even if something's wrong, we will send alarm immediately to our end users, to the smart water management platform, that they can get it immediately. Yeah, they can make, based on this information, they can make a right decision. That's the whole software program based on our station. So here is here is just a example for how can we do this with our smart software. Yeah, that we can able to detect and respond to any kind of event in real time and be able to immediately see the response of the water system to taking action on the water quality map. So this is look like this is our systems, our sensors, terminals, and systems. And the advantage for to meet the requirements of the smart water platform, that our advantage is that it is accurate, reliable, quick, no reagent. This is very important. And low maintenance, no spare parts, easy to install and to operate, and high normal operation rate and the inexpensive measuring instruments for comprehensive and time-resolved water quality monitoring. That our sensor is simple to use, yeah, and reliable. So, and also here, it's just as an example for drinking water, for city drinking water networks. That means what kinds of parameters that that should be that we can technically deliver, and what is needed, and what is cost efficient variables that we can see. We have for drinking water pipe, we have different things. We have UV spectrum, we have DOC, we have TOC, we have chlorine, turbidity, color, ORP, conductivity, and all the kinds of things are important. But we have to see that which parameter is most sensitive for event detection, and is reliable, and is with low maintenance, that is cost efficient. That we have to consider about it. Then we can see that the UV spectrum is the most important one, with high with high sensitivity, with reliability and low maintenance. Just I want to mention that our system, we call it as PipeScan, can offer all these important parameters for drinking water works monitoring. So just very quickly about two cases. One thing is we have in Belgium drinking water monitoring
Xiaoli, you have to end now.
Yeah. So this is very important in that to measure source water from different kind of source water, groundwater, reservoirs, and also water tower. Then to use different source water to monitor different water source to keep to the drinking water quality. That's why they are going to use this these small things. And just here a few pictures from China. What we have done in the past for city monitoring, this is sewage monitoring, city channel monitoring, building monitoring. That's in big buildings, shopping malls, and also municipal wastewater and drinking water, and also the reliable portable monitoring stations that we can use it for emergency. That means this is all our applications in a summary. So the short one, I just keep one thing, the challenge. I just go through to our contribution, our solutions to the using digital monitoring sensors. They are able to get real time. This is one thing. Easy to use, easy to install, and easy to analyze. This is the second one, and economically affordable for everyone, for end user, for local government companies. And using these optical sensors, we can avoid the second, we call it as a second pollution. That means the reagent can go into water and pollute it second time. That means this is environmental friendly and saving costs and raising efficiency of the water treatment for the water treatment companies from their process control using digital monitoring sensors. This is also one important thing, saving power and chemical dosing cost. The last one is
Xiaoli, you have to end now. It's very interesting, but time is short and you're over time. So I will have to ask you to close now. Your PPT will be available, and we will also have the opportunity to, as I assume you are in, as far as I understood, you're Shanghai based.
Yeah.
So you can take part in the Agritech Shanghai seminars we're going to have.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So let's stay in touch about that, and besides that, also thank you for challenging the overview of sensors and equipment which I gave in the beginning. I think you're adding a lot to those conclusions. So thank you very much. We will move on to David Yang from Kamstrup. Please, David.
Eric, let me share the screen. All right. Thank you. My name is David Yang. I'm from Kamstrup, Denmark, and I would like to do the presentation in Mandarin in order to serve the Chinese customer or the potential Chinese customer better. 各位朋友，下午好。我很荣幸能够今天代表Kamstrup 公司来向大家介绍一下我们的智能水务的解决方案。那么简单来说 ，Kamstrup 是丹麦的最大的水表、热表和电表的生产商。我们同时提供它水热电的智能解决方案。那么我们Kamstrup 在智能水表和在超声波领域已经从事了30多年的研发和生产。从这个我们的调查上来看，那么非收益水是许多国家和水司都要面对的一个巨大挑战。那么要想减少非收益水，那么我们就必须尽可能的知道在供水管线上正在发生什么样的事情。那么供水管线这么长，尤其是我们考虑到支管线，那几百公里都是很正常的。那么不可能在经济上也不现实去在每一个服务的供水管线上都安装一些比如说噪声监测的一些设备。那么 Kamstrup 针对这种非收益水的构成，那么我们提供了一些综合的智能解决方案。那么如果我们看一下这个根据我们从第三方的一个调查公司来得到的一个非收益水的一个构成，那么我们可以看到31%和31%的非收益水来自于这个服务支管线的泄漏，那么36%来自于主管线的泄漏或者是爆裂。那么当然还有一些其他的一些非收益水的成因，比如说也计量不准确、盗用水或者是一些消防等等其他的方面构成的。那么 Kamstrup 实际上我们拥有30多年的一个超声波产品的设计经验。那么我们为许多国家的水司提供端到端的一个综合性的智能水务解决方案，包括我们内置的 LED 专利技术那种高精度的超声波水表，高性能的 Link IQ 远程读表系统，混搭 Nerve IoT 技术。我们包括可以进行压力漏损监控以及智能数据分析。那么我们在超声波水表里内置的ALD 专利技术，能够在提供精确的计量数据的同时，还将管线上监测到的 ALD 的声学模型传送给远端，帮助客户在远端进行监控和诊断这个供水管线的状况。那么客户可以进行有效的漏点定位和处置。那么基于这种专利技术的 Link IQ 的数据采集系统呢，我们可以实现单基站读取3万台表的数据。 那么这种能力可以极大的降低拥有这个数据网络的这个成本。那么 CAMSOP 拥有LinkIQ 数据采集器作为这个下一代的 Wireless Bus 的替代产品呢，每一个 LinkIQ 的数据采集器可以取代传统的3到4个的 Wireless Bus 的数据采集器。那么我们同时后向兼容这个 Wireless Bus 的仪表。LinkIQ 混搭 Narrowband IoT 就可以为客户提供非常高性价比的这种数据采集系统。CAMSOP 在LD 的技术方面拥有4项发明专利，在 LinkIQ 方面我们拥有8项发明专利。那么 CAMSOP 的智能水务方案呢，在作为一种智能化的数据分析工具能够为水司提供一种高效的设备管理、质量控制和营收的保护，降低管网的水耗，为事件处置和客户的决策，那么我们提供一个可靠的解决方案和数据依据。那么我们有能力为客户提供端到端的整体解决方案。那么同时我们也可以根据客户的不同需求，去提供量身定制的这种灵活解决方案。那么 CAMSOP 的智能水务软件呢，既可以在云端运行，也可以在本地运行。同时我们支持数据在第三方的系统进行集成，每个模块都是可选的。那么我们希望我们的客户只选对的，不选对的。现在呢，我想为大家分享一下我们在智能水务在这个欧洲的几个成功案例。那么这个是一个丹麦的Bickel 的地区这个Bickel 的水司呢，它在安装了我们的 FlowIQ 2200的产品之后呢，那么这个水司呢很快在支管线上就发现了有3个漏点和1个主管线的漏点。那么主管线上的漏点呢非常严重，他们那个漏点的那个漏水达到了3到4例每小时。那么在另外一个地区安装了50台的 FlowIQ 2200的超声波水表之后，我们检测到了17个漏点。那么经过最后的测算，这个地区的非受益水的损耗从1.7平均的从1.7例每小时下降到0.3。那么左边呢这个图里边显示的是一个主管线的泄漏。那我们在安装 CAMSOP 系统之前呢，这个水司是知道这个地区大概存在很大的一个漏点，大概是6例左右。那么他们之前用了几个月的时间尝试不同的方法，比如说听音杆或者是噪声记录仪，但是一直没有办法定位漏点。那么在安装了 CAMSOP 的 FlowIQ 2200的水表以及远程的数据采集网络和智能水务软件之后呢，在系统端就直接观测到了3台表出现了泄漏噪声的那个峰值，就是这个黄色的这个黄圈所显示的地方。那么我们在和客户来到这3块表的安装区域之后呢，1个小时之内我们就检测到了主管线的一个漏点，修复之后这个该区域的这个漏损就立刻下降83%左右。那么第2张图它体现出 ALD 技术进行7×24小时进行监控的一个巨大的价值。那么在安装CAMSOP FlowIQ 2200之后呢，我们立刻就观察到比如在第一个峰值，我们就立刻就观察到出现了一个峰值。那么我们在和客户赶到现场之后呢，就立刻会就定位了这个漏点，并且进行修复。之后呢，一切良好。那么这个系统图形呢也回到一个正常值。可是1个半月之后呢，在这个水表又一次检测到那个泄漏噪声升高。那么我们很怀疑有可能存在再次泄漏，但是我不好确定，因为我们刚刚在1个半月以前修复过。但实际情况是呢，当我们再次去现场进行检查的时候呢，我们发现之前修复的连接点2米远的地方又出现了第2个泄漏。那么这个案例让水司真正看到了我们内置 ALD 技术的这个水表和 CAMSOP 智能水务系统的真正价值。那么该客户如果是说他没有我们的 ALD 的解决方案，那么他们肯定会花费非常长的时间才能发现第2个漏点，因为他们刚刚在1个半月之前在相同的地方修复了一个漏点。那么最终的结果呢，客户决定更换这个地区的整条管线，而不是再次修补漏点。那么第2个案例呢是在瑞典。左边这个图呢是在Karlskrona 瑞典的一个水丝。那么在2020年呢，瑞典的 Karlskrona 水丝安装了700台的 FlyQ200 水表以及分析软件和我们的远传系统。那么它上线之后呢，很快就发现有7个漏点。那么有6个漏点是在锈蚀的金属管线上面，还有1个是发生在安装了10年的一个塑料管材的管线上。那么经过水丝测算呢，每个漏点节约成本大概是在86000克朗瑞典克朗。那么通过这个测试之后呢，水丝非常就是重新建立他们的信心，那重新设定了那个漏损的目标，从16%要提升到3%。那么在第2张图上呢，它是我们在瑞典的叫孙德汉水丝安装了800台的 FlyQ200 系统。那么这个系统上线1个小时之后呢，我们就发现了第1个漏点。那么到目前为止，我们系统已经发现了100多个泄漏。那么水丝呢，根据我们的智能系统的管理软件和提醒信息，他们主动的给客户打了50到60个电话，主动的提醒客户有马桶漏水或者是花园的水喉没有关。那么最后，我们的 Camsop 我们正在采取非常积极的行动来推动智能水务方案进入中国市场。那么我们非常愿意以一种严谨和量身定制的灵活的方式，为中国的客户来实现“14-5”规划里面提出的这个节水控漏的目标。那么我们非常愿意和有意向的朋友和客户去进行各种合作方式的探讨。我们非常希望大家如果有兴趣可以联系我，我们的方式在这个 PPT 上面。All right, Henrik, thank you very much. I have done.
Thank you much, David, for your presentation. We will move on quickly to the last speaker, Toni Laurila from Sensmed in Finland. And after that, we will have a little bit different version of the roundtable. I will ask all the speakers within some 30-45 seconds to inform about what has been your main takeaway from the presentations today, and eventually which topics you would suggest for a seminar, for a session at the Aquatech Shanghai about digitalization, where there's so much to be discussed. But first we will have Toni Laurila from Sensmed. Thank you, David, and welcome to Toni.
Okay, thank you, Henrik. Good morning, Europe. Good afternoon, China. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Excellent. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving us the opportunity to tell how Sensmed pioneers the real-time water quality data to transform water management. There's a clear global trend that water monitoring goes online. Despite the fact that the technology for water monitoring is lacking a lot behind the technology that is used today to measure in real time the air quality and exhaust gas emissions monitoring, the technology is really changing. And we clearly see that there's new technology coming to fill up those gaps that Henrik nicely summarized this morning. So there are a lot of things to be done, but there are new technologies coming and new companies emerging that are filling those gaps. So we are catching up the technology of air quality and exhaust gas emissions monitoring. The state of the art in water monitoring is two ways. So there are laboratories, but they are fairly slow. It typically takes at least days or even a week or two to get the results. And they are fairly expensive too, if you think about wide water analysis. Then, of course, there are a lot of single parameter analyzers that can measure very well one parameter, but it gets really expensive and complex if you need to monitor, for example, 5 to 10 different parameters. Fortunately, like we have seen already today, there are solutions that can measure multiple parameters, but we are not there yet. There's a lot of things we can improve. And Then there are deep water challenges globally. There are water risks, for example, unbearable risks associated with tailings dam disasters. Water pollution is a serious threat in many countries. We use water excessively, and the efficiency of many water processes, for example, in mining, they are suboptimal. And by monitoring the water quality in comprehensive fashion, we can improve the efficiency by several %, and that's a significant financial factor. Then Sensmet, our company in brief. We are a 3-year-old startup company. We are now 9 professionals. There's 10 years of research and development behind our new technology. And what we typically offer to our customers is 7,000 data points per analyzer per month. And each data point can contain several water quality parameters, up to 50, so 50 parameters in one measurement. So our product is a comprehensive water quality analyzer that typically sends the data either to a cloud or a customer's distributed control system, the ID system. And from there, the end user can see the water quality data in real time using a graphical dashboard. Then either in the analyzer or on the cloud, we can do a lot of data processing using the latest AI tools on the digital big water data that we produce. And with that post-processing of the data, we can either improve the data quality and increase the coverage of species to be monitored, or we can even provide advisory tools for the customer how to adjust and optimize the process. So with the Sensmet solution, we can measure up to record 50 parameters in one analyzer, including both inorganic metals and organic species. So the metals coverage of 30 different metals, that's our unique advantage. But in addition, we can cover turbidity, color, total hydrocarbons, and the wastewater parameters, and many more. It's fully automated and robust. There's no need for human operators. The results are reliable. We use certified reference chemicals to guarantee the accuracy of our measurements, and all the measurements are quantitative if needed. Our measurements are typically also optical, so there's no need for chemical reagents for analysis. And our current maintenance interval is 3 months, so nobody needs to touch the analyzer for 1 quarter. And as I said, the results are quantitative and we are sensitive. The typical limit of detection for metals is 0.0 milligrams per liter. And from there we can go up to grams per liter level in some mining applications. And we are doing a lot of work to really bring real-time water analysis to the field. Of course, in the core is the analyzer technology, but we more and more sign the rule of thumb that 80% of the issues in the field are due to the sampling. So it's really important to pay attention how the sampling is realized and to secure that it's representative. And for that, we have intelligent pre-treatment units that monitor the flow and pressure of the sampling lines and do automatic cleaning, either using cleaning agent solutions or pressurized air purging. So we put a lot of effort to make the whole measurement chain reliable. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention, and let's transform the future of water management together.
Thank you, Tony, for this very precise, to the point presentation. We are a bit over time, and we were supposed to have a round table here where I would ask some questions and so on. But we will skip that part. I will invite the speakers instead, each to very quickly take us through what has been your main takeaway today the presentations and your reflections along the road, and eventually maybe also some suggestions for for our upcoming event at Architect Shanghai, where we will have a continued discussion about digitalization. So what topics would you particularly take? So I'll invite all of the speakers to come forward with what, and I'll do it according to how I see people appearing on my screen. So Tony, first, what will be your main takeaway from today?
I was impressed to see how the digitalization of water monitoring and management is going forward. So it's a very positive sign that there's a lot of activity in this field, and people have noticed how important it is and how much there's potential to improve things. So that's my take-home message here.
Thank you very much. Helena?
Yeah, so my takeaway is that we need to move from water smart management to intelligent water management. This is water smart management is needed, is feasible, is inevitable, but to become more intelligent, not only smart, we need to have competent organizations, competent people, adequate leadership, and understand the value of the assets, be them pumps, pipes, this type of asset, but also human assets and equipment, monitoring equipment assets as well. So we need to understand how these assets may contribute to the corporate objectives, to the stakeholders' objectives, and they need to be maximized in order to improve efficiency and effectiveness.
Thank you, Helena. Michael?
Yeah, hello. Well, I think I took away that technology never stops, right? It's always developing, and we as humans have to keep up with that development. I think water is the future, is the resource of the future, and we have to be very cautious and learn more about our water environment, and their technology can really help us in any regards. Also, we see currently a lot of conflicts in the world are based on water resources between countries and even within countries. And I hope that technology can build a bridge between different stakeholders.
Thank you. Xiaoli? You need to put on your microphone.
Sorry. Can you hear me right now? Yeah. My first impression is that it's very interesting that how can we use all the data based on AI analyze. That means from the all collecting online collected data to make really really important, very useful for our decision maker. And that's very important. For example, for the EPA, they would like to know the pollution, the source, who polluted this, regarding on hand on the water quality monitoring and analyze to find someone, to find the source, to find some who will pollute the water. This is, I think, this is most important things. And the second one is then the intellectual property protection. That's really in China. We have to, as a company for the technical leader, that we should take really seriously for this point. Yeah, that's my impression.
Thank you, Liam.
I would like to pick up the points from one of the previous speakers, Oli. I don't think he's still with us, on the differences of procurements in Europe and in China. Because as I shared in the link of the chat, we do have some publications, reports on understanding the government procurement process in China. Which in many times also represents the demands from the local challenge owners, how to access to these procurement opportunities and how to eventually benefits from it. And as you mentioned, Henrik, this is also will be one of the points that we'll pick up at Aquatech. So at the SME Center, be taking advantage of being in China, we also intend to invent some experts who could eventually share with us more information on procurements. And that's it from my side.
Thank you. Over to you, Helika.
Yes, thank you, Henrik. Well, I heard some, can you hear me? Yes. I heard some very amazing presentations today about very amazing technological solutions for very complicated problems in the water technology sector, as well as water management techniques, processes. And as already Mr. Xiaoli emphasized, intellectual property protection plays a huge role in bringing those technologies to also China's market, or actually wherever we want to bring those solutions to, whichever market. Intellectual property plays a huge role, and companies have to be prepared to actually protect the amazing technological solutions that they have come up with. Also in China and elsewhere. So this is, and also during the Aquatech, this could be potentially a topic that we can discuss, how exactly to protect different technological solutions, for example, AI-based solutions, databases protection, and so on. So thank you.
Bruno?
Yeah, many interesting points raised. I also noted one from Oli from Finland, who's I understand is not with us anymore now. But he mentioned, talking about smart water, he mentioned things like impossible requirements raised by clients, or impossible expectations, system that have to do everything, or very, very high expectations of like magic-like AI solutions. And in China specifically, we know the market here, the vendors, all kind of vendors tend to promise everything. So how do you deal with that? And that's then in the chats, they were in the, actually, at least in the panelist chats, there were a lot of questions about ISO 55000. So just to say what I tried to express before, but ISO 55000 or maybe other standards can be used as a tool to answer that question, that challenge of very open-ended requirements, and customers not being experienced or not very clear about what to do with these IT systems and where to start, where to finish. So that's the balance, and this balance is hard to find, but I think a lot of companies do it in China successfully. And I think looking from a European perspective, and most of you are based in Europe, looking at how Chinese companies realize this digital transformation with their challenges and their successes is also very interesting. But just I wanted to say, and I think this conversation will continue in the next webinars and also on site in Aquatech. So I think this is a good exchange.
Thank you, David. Put on your mic. Can't hear you. Sorry, David, we cannot hear you. David, I'll give you a chance to come up later on. Meanwhile, I'll just take my own takeaway things, and that is when looking at the water sector and the importance of addressing all the topics, which also Michael emphasized a couple of times. We definitely have a huge potential offered by the digitalization. But what I also hear is actually a lot of the technologies are out there. Of course, there are things still to be innovated, but it doesn't, to me, seem to be the biggest problem. It's actually more the use of it. So it's, as Helena points, to get into an intelligent situation. And intelligence requires what what Dragan also pointed to in the beginning, getting the human part of this right. And it seems like that looking into competences of stakeholders in order to comprehend what digitalization actually implies and what the potentials are and how to, as Bruno said, how to start and how to move forward and so on. So to me, I have two things to take away. One is the market functioning is not ideal today to pick up the potential offered by digitalization. It's easier when you have a single customer who makes the decision itself. But when we move into the complex areas, the urban setting, the rural setting, and the rivers with many stakeholders, many to pay and many to benefit, this becomes extremely complicated. And so if our tender system doesn't reflect that, if it doesn't base on standards which are up to date with digitalization, then we are actually in dire straits. We will risk misinvestments or inadequate investments, unbalanced investments, and so on. So the market functioning is, to me, something we should discuss further at our event in Shanghai. And secondly, how in various stakeholder situations where you got many players around, how do we actually get all players up to date with pros and cons, with benefits, with potentials, and also sharing of costs. So with these remarks, I will invite each of you, maybe, do you have a second comment based on my conclusion from here? Tony?
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for having this discussion. It was great to meet you all, and I wish we have more events like this and get opportunities to really realize these ideas and to make concrete steps in the field. That's where we really prove the technology and convince the customers about the added value.
Thank you. Helena?
Sorry. Yes, I think your take-home message was very much in line with my own take-home message. So I really do not have much to add to it. I think it's really important to put our brains and the corporate brains in service towards taking the best of the existing offer in terms of technology, so that we don't buy too much, we don't buy too little, and we use the data adequately. The data we need, not more, not less, in an integrated way.
Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, I think all the statements have had very good points. And I think also one of the challenges, as Ollie said in his presentation and Bruno in his summary, is kind of the customers are sometimes overwhelmed and not ready there in order to, place a tender, but they still do it because they get funding and then they have to produce a tender within a certain time. And we see in many cases, you should do actually, reliable research before you make the decision in which direction you will go. But this research in many cases can be actually more expensive than the whole project itself. So yeah, I think we have also to not only make technology more accessible and more advanced, we should also simplify technology and data, because especially in flood monitoring, when I come to our topic, we have many stations out there collecting data all around the world, and I don't know an exact number, but I would say 95% of data are not watched continuously. They only watched after a flood event. What is just showing that, well, the investments are there, but it's not utilized correctly. And I hope technology can also solve that in the future.
Thank you. Liam? a last comment?
From my point of view, first of all, I think very happy to have listened to so many ideas thrown on the table. And again, we are very happy to be on the ground, to be here in China. So the best way to test the ideas is to be here. So I think Aquatech in this case provides a good platform, and also together with CWP, we're going to organize some interesting discussions involving more players, possibly also from the Chinese side, to understand better the demands, and because at Aquatech I understand also, excuse me, other than the technology holders, there will also be other service providers which will bring different perspectives to the discussion. So again, we are still shaping up our ideas. So if you have any suggestions on topics, on formats, I also invite all the companies presented here to be in touch with us, to let us know your demands. And that is my final words. Thank you.
Thank you. Helica, last word.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I also agree with Henrik of what you said, and as well as what Liam said about Aquatech being a platform where we can discuss various ideas, various topics, various still points of concern with regards to the water management, as well as how we can solve the existing issues, how we can better engage the technology, protect our technology, and so on. So yes, further discussions on the topic definitely would be a good recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruno, your last word?
No further comment really, but Henrik, you mentioned the market. What can we do about the market? I think the world market is functioning well. Overall, I think the role you have taken to organize these kind of sharing sessions, and especially experience sharing or case study sharing is good. It's probably useful. Otherwise, I think generally market procurement processes in China, I'm talking for China, is working quite well actually. And there's not more difficulties or more confusion in China than there is outside of China. That has been my experience. That's my last words.
Okay, David, what is your last word? And eventually, David, could you pick up on the question raised by Gerard in the chat? How about the elephant in the room? Open data and information exchange. If we keep on working in our own silos, we cannot really manage and solve the complex issues. Could you maybe address that one as your final comment and the final comment of the seminar today?
Oh yeah, so Henrik, could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it's very interesting and impressive to see the innovative or even magic solutions or new technologies in the webinar today. So there is no doubt the technology will keep moving and developing, but one of the challenge will be that what I can see is we have to present or prove the values to the customer and convince them and what is the value that the new technology or new solution will bring to them. And on the other hand, China market is so different from the European market or US. There are many different or unique business rules behind. So in order to, let's say, roll out or let's say promote the European solution to the Chinese customers or market, we need to find the proper, so to say, partnership, understand their applications to create a customized or flexible solution or unique value for the customers. In many cases, the customer know what they need. They know what they want, but they don't know what they need. So we hope that we can join the journey together with the customer and to offer the proper solution for them. That will be a long journey for everyone. And back to the open data and information exchange. So there's no doubt that let's say, if we talk about the technology, and we always, people always say, LoRa, narrowband IoT, this kind of things, they are open platform or open technology for smart metering, but they are not. And narrowband IoT LoRa, for example, they are only a kind of open protocol from the transportation layer, but they are not open at all from the application layer. Application layer means how the meter manufacturers organize or assemble the meter data and how to set them to the system. It's completely different from one manufacturer to the other. So there are some standardization in OMS organization running, but that's not sufficient enough. So there are still many areas which are not interoperable from one to the other. So there is also a long journey to find a kind of really interoperable devices or platform for all the manufacturers. So we need partnership, and we need also, let's say, a joint effort work on that.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you all for your interesting presentations and your active involvement. Thank you to the people attending this webinar and staying with us all the way. And thank you to the interpreters, despite we go a little bit over time. For those of you who found that this has been an interesting topic, this will also be among the topics we will have when we have the sessions at Aquatech Shanghai during the first days of June. Have a look at our flyer and the website for more information, and also here we will have the upcoming all the PPTs and report, etc. from the webinar available. So thank you very much, and have a nice day to all of you out there. Bye bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.